Overthinking is a very common problem. I would go as far as to say that everybody on Earth at some point has fallen into the trap of overthinking. So let's understand what overthinking is, what causes it, and therefore better understand how we can overcome this very sticky problem. And we have to understand just how awful a problem it really is. It causes enormous suffering. It can stop you from sleeping. It can cause you stress, anxiety, depression. You can be irritable. It can affect your relationships. It can affect your work, every aspect of your life. If you have a tendency to overthink, it can cause enormous suffering and pain in your life. So let's not underestimate it. Let's not dismiss it as, oh, I tend to overthink a little bit sometimes. No, it's a serious problem, very serious. And it's a problem that doesn't need to exist. But the reason we fall into this trap is because we don't realize that we have a choice. Now, you don't have a choice about whether you think or not, or what thoughts to have. Because if we could do that, the moment you went to bed, you would just just as you switch the light off, you would switch your thoughts off. Simple. Doesn't that sound good? Wouldn't that be nice to just have a switch? And we can't choose what thoughts to have, otherwise we'd have nothing but pleasant thoughts. And then nothing would ever get done. But doesn't that sound nice as well? But no, that is a common misconception. And so when we sit to meditate, that is not what we're trying to do. We are not trying to find the switch to turn our thoughts off. You'll be looking for a very long time, because there isn't one. Trust me, I've looked. But what we can do is practice these techniques that will allow us to better understand our thought processes and therefore be better equipped to disengage before the overthinking has begun, recognize the trap that we are about to fall into, choose to disengage from this, and therefore there is no problem. Thoughts and feelings can still arise as they will. They arise in their own time, in their own way. But what we're going to learn is how to observe these thoughts and feelings without getting engaged and involved in these thoughts and feelings. So, why does overthinking exist in the first place? Well, we are taught, perhaps rightly, perhaps wrongly, I do not know. That's not on me to decide. But we are taught that the way to solve your problems is to think about them. Logical thought, reasoning, and rationality are very much celebrated and venerated in our culture. And using this thought to overcome the problems in our lives and in the lives of others is incredibly effective. It works. If you have a problem with something, you think of a way to overcome that problem. Therefore, the problem is solved. This works for most of the things in our lives. Great. The problem that thinking does not help with is thinking itself. There is a fantastic analogy that to a hammer, from the perspective of a hammer, everything looks like a nail. you find this across everything in society. To a mechanic, everything looks like a machine that can be fixed. To a doctor, I imagine things may appear to be illnesses that can be cured. And so when we have a problem, such as overthinking, our initial response is to try and think our way out of that problem. I hope you can see the irony in this happening. It would be like trying to use a flamethrower to put out a forest fire. It just doesn't work. I'm sure you've been in this situation where your thoughts are racing. It's exhausting. Thought after thought after thought. And there's no real even pattern to it. It's just stress and anxiety, and I've got this problem I need to fix, and I've got this problem I need to fix, and I've got this problem I need to fix. And then you become aware that you are overthinking, and so you start going, oh, I need to stop overthinking. Right, how do I stop overthinking? We go to distract ourselves with something, or often, sadly, self-medicate with booze or drugs or tobacco or food or even exercise. We try and self-medicate the psychological pain and suffering caused by this overthinking. But none of this works. None of this works. And we can't figure out why we're doing it. And what has happened there is that we have become lost on a train of thought. And now this train is hurtling along at top speed. And we can't get off. Or we believe that we can't get off. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a practice, and you can do this with me now. Whether you choose to sit in this practice or you're doing something else whilst watching this is fine. Nothing needs to disturb the practice at all. It's more a sense of understanding. So we are going to learn this practice of thought watching. So, in this analogy that we're going to use here, and you can, if you choose to, sit and close your eyes and begin breathing deeply. We are going to imagine that we are on a train platform. And in order to really anchor into this, to bring ourselves into this practice, simply focus on the breath. And do not analyze or judge your breath as it rises and falls. Just observe the sensations of breathing, coming and going. Without analysis or interpretation. A simple allowing. Just opening awareness, consciousness, to allow the breath to rise and fall. Do not force the breath in or out. Just allow. Now, becoming fully aware of the present moment, with everything that the present moment contains. All of the sensations within the body, the sounds around you. Even if the sounds are noisy, the sound of the wind, the kids are playing, pets are making noise, there's traffic outside. All of these thoughts, sounds, a sense of allowing and accepting all within this present moment. And there is no interpretation or analysis on any of these sounds. So too, becoming aware of the sensations in the body. But no need for any analysis or interpretation. No image needs to be formed. Just what is, just what is, just what is. And so anchored into the present moment in this way, we find ourselves sat on the platform of this train station. Now notice as we do this, that thoughts and feelings continue to arise. And this may be the source of some frustration, as you feel you are trying to relax. You are trying to bring yourself to a place of peace, and you feel bothered and disturbed by your thoughts and feelings. These may manifest as words or unpleasant emotions, feelings that you don't have time for this, that you don't have the right brain for this, that this just won't work for you, that this isn't working. Yes, yes, yes. Just for this time now, just for this practice, any thought or feeling that arises, observe that in the same way that you observe the sound around us, the sensations in the body, accepting all within this present moment. Simply observe the thought and feeling in the same way the sounds come and go. The thoughts too come and go. Within this visualization, within this analogy, come to see your thoughts and feelings as trains arriving at this platform. And these thoughts and feelings can be tempting if we feel we've had enough of sitting on the platform and we would like to get on board this train. Do not get on board that train. Simply sit on the platform and observe the train. It does not matter if the doors have been open for a long time. It doesn't matter how long the train has been sitting there, or even how much you believe that this is your train, that you should get on this train. No. For this time now, do not get on board that train. In time, the doors close and the train departs, vanishing into the distance. Now, stay on the platform. Continue to breathe. Observe how pleasant the present moment is around you, now that we can simply accept and allow everything that is happening. There's nothing to be done. Another train may arrive, this time smaller, quicker. It stops at the station, stays for a while, and then it too departs. You may find there are periods of time where there are very few trains arriving. And then there are other periods of time when many trains are arriving, one after another after another. Perhaps some trains just speed on through and make a lot of noise. The key to this practice is to remain on the platform, no matter which trains arrive. Now, some of these trains can be very subtle in trying to convince you to get on board. A train may arrive called, "You don't have time for this." It's a very convincing one and a very common one. Simply have some faith and some courage that you absolutely do have time for this. Perhaps another train will arrive called, "You're never going to get this." Another common one. But you're doing it now. And make no mistake, the practice that you are doing right now is exactly the same one as the Buddha, as the Zen masters. If you looked to the left and to the right, you would find them all sat on the platform with you. It's the same platform. And you are doing this now. This is the practice of finding inner peace. So the train arriving that says you can't do this, you're no good, you're not going to get this, is a liar. Stay on the platform, allow the doors to close, and off it goes. Just like that. So simple. So simple. Another train called boredom or frustration arrives. Agitation, restlessness, physical sensations within the body. Just another train. Continue to breathe. Rest within this present moment only. No thoughts of future or past. Just what is now. At some point during this practice, you will find yourself on board one of these trains with no recollection of getting on board or how you got there. You simply realize that you became lost in these thoughts and feelings again. That although your intention was to remain on the platform, you suddenly find that you have been caught up in your stressful, anxious, worried thoughts. Or perhaps not even that negative, just lost in daydreaming. And you realize, I was supposed to be staying on the platform. How am I lost on this train? This is perfectly normal. It happens to every single person who has ever sat down to try and meditate. You have done nothing wrong. It simply happens. Just get off at the next stop. No matter how pleasant this train of thought may feel, make no mistake, it is headed towards suffering. And I doubt I need to remind you just how bad that psychological suffering can become. That is where all of these trains are headed. So get off. The moment you have become aware that you are lost in thinking is the same as the train pulling up at the station. If you've ever been on a train, nodded off, and then suddenly become aware that the train has stopped at the platform and it's jolted you awake, you go, oh, is this my stop? This is your stop. Get off. Get off. Don't think about it. Just get straight off of that train. On leaving the train, you realise that you're back on the same platform that you started on. Nothing has been lost. You haven't gone the wrong way. Nothing has actually happened. Nothing has actually happened. Back on the platform. Now, remain here, alongside all the Buddhas, the Zen masters. Simply connect with the breath, the sensations in the body. Allow and accept all of the sounds around you, the temperature on your skin, the sensations of breathing, and once again, simply watching the trains come and go. Actually quite pleasant now. The next trains will be called, but you just messed this up. If you got lost on that last train, you'll just get lost on the next one, so you might as well get on board. No matter what it tries, you have the power and the control to choose not to engage. So you see, we have no control over which trains arrive. That's not up to you. Your control is whether to get on board or not. So I would recommend every day set some time aside. It doesn't have to be hours and hours. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just set a small timer for that 5, 10 minutes, maybe 20, whatever you can manage, to sit on the platform and observe. In time, the duration may get longer, but actually it doesn't matter. What matters is the understanding. By doing this, we begin to see that there is a separation between that which is watching the thoughts coming and going and the thoughts themselves. Now, you may not have been previously aware that that was happening. Previously, you had no choice. You are just lost on train after train after train. But now that choice is there. So, if you can observe your thoughts and feelings, it stands to reason that you are not your thoughts and feelings. They are simply something that comes and goes within you. And what you are is that which is observing them. The space that observes the thoughts and feelings coming and going. That's you. The space that observes does not suffer. The space that observes is always at peace. You are able to access that space at any moment. Whenever you find that you've become lost in thoughts, get off the train, reconnect with that space. Whether you're in line at Tesco, whether you're dealing with the kids being difficult, whether you're at work and your manager is being unhelpful, or customers, or whatever it is that is causing you the stress. Practice the power and choice of getting off that train. And that's my advice on overthinking. A short crash course in how to meditate. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it useful.